Thank you, Sarah. Welcome everyone to today's session. As Sarah mentioned, my name is Vince Daniele, and there we go. So quick intro about myself. So as Sarah also said, I am the Building Solutions Construction Team Manager here at Imagine It. I lead a team of 6 specialized consultants, primarily with a focus around the Autodesk Construction Cloud. I've been with Imagine It for 13 years, and I'm based out of Detroit, Michigan. So if you've been on any of these ACC webinars before, you've probably heard me present. So welcome back. If not, welcome. So today's topic, I have a really short slide deck, and I just want to jump into some of these new features. Probably won't take too long, but I didn't plan on going through every single new update. Some of them, I think, in just title are pretty self-explanatory, but if time permits, if anyone has any specific questions about ones that I don't touch base on, then I will absolutely show you samples or show you examples and projects that I have set up. So I'll walk through this list real quick. The ones that I've highlighted in blue here are the ones I do plan to show. They're, I guess, my personal favorites, but also ones just in working with our customers, I feel like are probably the biggest anticipated updates in this last release of Build. So first off, with assets, we've got linking the ability to link asset categories to form templates. So we can tie an asset type to a specific form. So say you're in the field and there's a piece of equipment or something that you're tracking, you can apply or tie that category, the asset category, to the template of a form. We are able to reorder, at least in theory, we're able to reorder the custom fields that we have in assets. What I've found, so the description that Autodesk released with this is that we would be able to reorder the custom fields in the columns area of the assets module. I haven't seen that, or I can't prove that to be true. When you go to create custom fields and you assign them to your asset categories, you are able to sort them in the display of the category when you, or the display of the asset when you click on the asset. But from what I've found, it is not reorganizing the columns. So maybe I'll show that. It's probably easier to see than how I'm explaining it. Probably the largest and most anticipated release was this email correspondence, which is in public beta right now. So I definitely want to show everyone what that's all about. But this is a utility or a module in Build that allows us to track, not only create emails, but also forward existing emails directly into our projects for tracking. So a really cool utility, cool tool there. Under files, there's a lot that they did with files. Some of it maybe small tweaks here and there. Some of them, even though they're small tweaks, they're ones that I feel like people have suggested or have given us feedback in the past, so they have incorporated some updates in the file management portion of, I guess, not necessarily just Build, but Autodesk Docs. One of the big ones is now we can include files in project templates. So if you're creating project templates for any ACC project, you can contain different files, spreadsheets, Word documents, templates, PDFs within the project template in your folder structure. Duplicate file name scanning. So if you potentially have duplicates of your files in different folders within the project, you can do a quick scan and it will show you all of those duplicates. So you can delete the ones that aren't the correct version or just delete duplicates if necessary. There are some improved editing options for naming standards. Multi-page PDF navigation improvements. This is kind of a big one. It's a quick demo, but definitely one I think has been long anticipated for navigating your PDFs in the viewer in the cloud. There's a new indicator column that will show you if a file has been publicly shared, published to Sheets, or bridged to another project. So it's just an icon that shows up alongside of the line item of the file to let you know that, oh, this file has been publicly shared, has been published to Sheets, or is bridged, synchronized to another project. We can share saved searches within the files and search within deleted files and folders, which we couldn't do that. We couldn't search for deleted files or folders in the past. So, some basic stuff, but pretty cool, good updates. Specifically within forms, I'll demonstrate this, but we can tie in issue types for non-conforming responses. I'll save the detail for that during demo. There's been some work log enhancements into the form template, so just some additional input that we can put into a form template for work log. In terms of issues, we have additional statuses that they've included. So instead of just having our stock statuses, we have a number of additional statuses outside of the pending, in review, closed, open, etc. And we can place issues now in PDFs on mobile, which I know is a big update for the field users of Build. For libraries, this was something that was pretty frustrating before. I'll point this out too in demo, but in the past, when we would go to create a form template from our account, so in account admin, we have that library option that we can build. We can build our forms directly in the library, but in the past, the only way to do that is to build them from scratch and then basically distribute them to all of your active projects. We weren't able to import an existing form template from an active project into the library and then distribute it. So they've opened up that functionality where now we are able to pull in form templates from existing projects. That's pretty cool. For markups, reference names on markups. So if we create a markup and hyperlink it, we are able to see that reference directly on the markup. Kind of, I think by hovering over it, or it just displays directly on it. And just like issues, we have markups available on PDFs through mobile. For Sheets, we can do a full content search. So when you publish your sheets and Build, there's OCR recognition that's going on in the background when they're processed. It scans the entire document. So in the past, we could really only search sheets by whatever custom tags we created or discipline, sheet number. Now we can search an entire document. So all of that text data that might be on a sheet, it could be in a schedule, it could be in a note, it could be in the title block. We can search for that content directly from the main Sheets page to find those different keywords that we're searching for. I should be able to show that one too. We are able to hide and show tags and disciplines now on mobile, which I think is a nice thing. And finally, the last thing, really the last update that I've highlighted for Build is in the schedule, there is a suggestions column that we can put to any schedule items. So basically just some input to input a schedule change or a potential schedule change. So what do I have here? Like 6 of them that I will demonstrate, and I am definitely open. If you guys want to see anything else, or if you have just general questions, if I don't cover it during demonstration, feel free to throw your questions in the chat or in the Q&A, and I'll have plenty of time, I think, at the end of this to cover your questions. All right. So let me just hit escape, get out of the PowerPoint here, and jump into my project. Let me see on my other monitor. There we go. Cool. So first off, probably, as I mentioned, the most anticipated update thing that we've been hearing a lot of feedback from customers, especially those that are coming from using new Forma for doing their CM, is email correspondence. So I'll highlight that one first. Directly in Build, you'll notice for any new project that you create in Build, you will see a correspondence module, correspondence area. prior to this release, you had to get a special exception or a special beta. This is public beta now, so for all users of Build, you guys should be able to see the email correspondence in all projects. I'm not sure. I can jump back to an old project to see if it shows up. I think it does, but this project I created recently, so it's obviously going to show up here. So for correspondence, a few different options. We can either go and create an email directly from our project and distribute it to team members or even outside email addresses. And it's really simple. Click on create, enter the subject of your email, which I'll call this correspondence test 1. And I added team members from my team to this project. So when you go to add people to your email, you simply get your project member list. I can select multiple. You'll notice at the bottom of this list, you do have the option to create a non-member or invite a new member to the project. So if you want to actually add them to your Build project, you can choose this option here, and then they will be added as a member, like if you were going through the members page, or creating a non-member will allow you, I'll just put my email in here, to add someone via email. I don't know why these roles don't auto-populate. Let's just say that. Or give us the drop-down. But we are able to add non-member participants to this email. And basically, if they respond to it, it will still be tracked within the system. So they don't have to be a project member in order to communicate through the email correspondence utility. And it just indicates, hey, there I am as a non-member. We can carbon copy people just like a normal email. If we only want this to be visible to the people that are in this particular email, you can limit that and make it a private correspondence. So if any one of these people from my team that I included on the email were to open up their email correspondence module, they would see this. Anyone that's not included would not see this email string or this chain of the email. So we type in our subject. We are also able to include attachments right from here. So you can either drag and drop from your normal browser, Windows Explorer, or from your project files. I put a spec in here so I can show this. Attached copy, all right, green check, we are good. And if we needed to add a status, like if it's an open item, if it's an email that we can say it's resolved or closed, we can add a status to this particular thing. Or if it's resolved, we can close it like many other places in Build, like issues and assets. We have statuses that we can assign, and we can apply a due date. So let's see, today is 27th. Let's just throw a due date on there, the 28th. I'm going to add my normal brand email here too. And just to show you how this works, once email is created, we can click on that, get information, get that email message, and then if anyone responds, which I'll go back to my Outlook and actually reply to this. So let me make sure I pop the message out so you guys aren't seeing a bunch of other emails in here. It usually takes a minute to, I think, process and send those out. I did set up one prior to this as a test, so let me pop this email out. Sorry, I'm on my other screen, so you can't see what I'm doing here, but let me just move this into here. So actually, I sent an email to myself using Outlook. I haven't put this as part of the email correspondence in ACC yet. So if I reply to it, I'm just going to be replying to myself through Outlook. But the reason I set this one up is I wanted to show you that you can also, instead of the message originating through Build here, back to here. When you have this option, or if you click this option, file from email, okay, and there's the email just popped up in my inbox. But every project does have its own project email address that we can include in a subject line of our email. So if you have emails that are being distributed outside of this system, you can copy this. Here's the message that originated outside of ACC. And if I just simply forward it or reply and add the project name. So this project is called LTU Assets. I used this in a presentation last week around assets and progress tracking, but I just put that into the to field of my email, and let's see, email. Send that. We'll give that a minute to work in the background. I'll open up this other one just to show you what you get. There we go. So directly from the one I created and added my team members to, you can see that like a normal email, the attachment of the spec that I attached shows up here. It has this formatting kind of in a predefined way. It shows us who that was sent to. But for anyone external, like I added my Gmail address, if I were to open this up through Gmail, I don't think I would have the option to view this, click this button to view correspondence, because this would actually link me to the ACC project, in which case I would pretend that email is not part of the project. But in simply replying to this, if I say reply to all, I'm going to tell my team, so simply reply all, put my message in, and we'll see if that caught up. Okay, so I know I'm kind of doing two things at once here, but the one that I forwarded from my test showed up. And we can view that email and the response. There's my response right there. And all right, good timing. The other one here, it shows in a series. So the ID, I don't know what the G, I guess the correspondence 1.1 in the project. I'm not sure what the general G, if there's maybe just because it's a general email. I don't know if there's any specific way to sort that or relabel the series. Doesn't look like it. But as you can see, we could change the status of something that is open. Let's close that out. And it tracks everything. And I did keep this as private correspondence. So if there are any other project members in this project that went into their correspondence, they would be able to see this one as a publicly available message, but this one would only be visible to those that are included. So all of the recipients plus myself. So that is basically it. Pretty cool. It is nice, I think, that you can include that project email and put that in the to subject. So anything that you want to forward, if you're getting emails from subcontractors directly to your Outlook inbox that you want to track and put part of the system, make it that single source of truth, you can copy and paste the project, forward it, and then it shows up in the correspondence tool. All right. So let's see. All right, so next up, multi-page PDF navigation improvements. So I also put a I didn't publish it, but I did put it issued for construction, CD set here, just in files. So this is one thing, and I probably, because historically this was the best way to navigate multi-page PDF. I would usually turn on my sheets and views side panel or have this expanded so we can jump to the different pages in the document. Well, it's a very simple improvement, but it is pretty impactful. Now we can browse through our sheets just using this number at the top. So if we wanted to jump to a specific sheet, if we happen to know what sheet it is in the 288 I have here, or we can just simply scroll through. So you're probably, if it's a published set like this, 288 sheets, you're probably publishing these to sheets, and then you can navigate from the main sheets module. Ideally though, something like a submittal or a product spec, maybe it's a 10-page PDF. It just makes it a lot easier to navigate scrolling side by side. One of the requests I've heard from customers is, are we able to scroll? The answer is no. Scrolling will still behave like it normally has, just doing your zoom in, zoom out function, so it won't actually scroll your page numbers. But it might seem minor. I feel like this is something that's been a long time coming, just to have the ability to go side by side. I don't know why this keeps opening up on me. Yeah, interesting. But easier to navigate than it was before. So maybe a minor update, but something that I know I've heard a ton of customers request, just the ability. A lot of people will hit this button down here, and it will only show you the one document. Well, all of the documents that you have in this particular folder, which I only have one, but I know that people would hit this button thinking they would scroll from a PDF to PDF, and it would actually jump you to the next file within that folder. So you still have that option if you're trying to jump between different PDFs that you have in the root folder, but this allows you to navigate directly in that multi-page PDF. I don't believe this is available on the mobile yet. So that was a quick one. Issue types for non-conforming responses. So this is one I didn't set up in this project. I probably have another project, but I'll just show you. If we were to build a form from a form template or from scratch, so I'm going to create a new form template. Now, in order to do this, you do have to be a project admin to be able to create form templates. But if I build a new form, just start with a blank. Issue type. So the official update here, it says issue types for non-conforming responses. What we mean by non-conforming responses is if you have a question, is this pass code? Let's change that to a single response and say, shoot, there's an easier way to do yes, no, but I'll just make this a yes, no, and delete my third one. So in our response, we can basically, some people would call this branching, but we can say, if we respond a certain way, why am I not seeing branching options? Oh, here we go. Turn on this conditional logic for the question. And if it says yes, then we don't need to do anything. It passes code. If we say no, this is non-conforming, so we can apply an action to it. So if we require an issue is created, if anything is non-conforming. Then in the past, we could just say require an issue, and that was the only option that we had. Well, now we can specifically point it to an issue type within the project. So if you're familiar with issue types, this can be pretty powerful because we want to make sure that users are using the correct issue types in order to track the issues that they're creating within the project. Primarily because it's going to create the best streamlined reporting to our dashboards and I guess any other type of data gathering that we're trying to do within the project. We don't want someone to populate a code violation with the wrong issue type or put it into like a general issue. So directly in the form, we can specify, and I didn't create any custom issue types, but we could have custom issue types. They would show up here if we created custom issue types in our project. But if I say that maybe this is a quality type, and we'll go ahead and save that. So really simple, make it a single contributor. Let's make sure, I think I was construction manager. Okay. All right, so now I've got this new issue type that I created. Back in our normal forms area, if I go to create my form and choose my new issue type, look at this form. Does the form work past code? No. All right. Issue of quality type required based on response. So if we go to create an issue, it automatically locks in that issue type when we go to submit this. And this does work via mobile as well when you're creating an issue to a form or issue in a form like this. So 1, we require the issue. 2, we specify the issue type, and then we can fill out the rest of this. One thing that I would personally love to see, and this came up in when Autodesk rolled these updates out about 3-4 weeks ago, I thought it would be good because we also have the ability in issues to create issue templates. So I thought it'd be really cool if not only could we specify the issue type, but go beyond that and specify an issue template, because then you could automatically pre-designate the assignees to that issue so someone doesn't have to manually pick them from the list. If you have someone that's doing a field walk, they go to create the issue, it assigns it to the correct person, and they get notified. Currently, because it's just the issue type, and I did this under quality, when they go to pick this one in the form, they're still going to have to fill out the form. Now, we are able to create within a form type, let's see, we can designate required fields. So we could go a little further with the issue type and say, you know what, quality, we want to make sure that it's assigned to someone, which is pretty obvious, like someone's getting notified that there's a site issue. So as long as we build it into the issue type, it's going to make sure that whoever is filling that form assigns it to someone. But I just felt like if you go a little bit further than that, we could create an issue template around quality and set a predefined role or someone specifically in the project into that template. And for ease of use for someone on site, they wouldn't need to worry about populating this manually. It would already just be baked into a specific issue template. But anyway, maybe down the road, I mentioned it to Autodesk, so hopefully someone makes that update. But still pretty cool stuff, way better than what we had in the past. Oh, cool. Required fields was one of the other things in my demo that I had highlighted, so I already showed that under your custom fields. You can create custom fields let's see, urgency, something like that. Make it a drop down. Gosh, where we got type. So even with custom fields, we can add these to our issue types in the project. And make that a required field. Going back to tying this to forms, this should still be in draft. So when I go to create that issue, quality is locked in, and it should have the urgency with the little red asterisk next to it, where I have to specify the urgency of that item. What's cool about all of these things, if you start to get into the advanced reporting that the ACC allows us to do, you can track all of this data through dashboards like Power BI and other tools. So if you're trying to create custom reporting and say, all right, what is this? Is this issue really that big of a deal? What's the urgency on it? When's the due date? All of that data that you associate to the issue, it's trackable. So custom fields are pretty powerful there, and the emphasis on requiring a field. Okay. Then actually, the last one I had highlighted, so got a lot of time after this one. Let me go to my account admin. So libraries, the ability to import into our library forms. Before we didn't have this option. We could only create form templates in libraries just like I did there. So maybe I do create this really great safety checklist in a project that I'm working in, or had one prior to the ACC having this library, which came out, I think, about a year ago, I want to say. Maybe we had older projects that we've developed these great forms in, and we want to make them sort of a global standard. Well, prior to this release, in order to do that, we had to rebuild the form template within the account admin library. Well, now we can just go to import, and it's extremely simple. You just go into any one of your projects. So the one I was just in was LTU assets. And there's the new one I just created. So, hey, I really like that form. I like everything I built into it. We want to make this a standard form that we can push into multiple projects. We import that. And once it's updated, well, I'll let that one update, but we can grab any of these. Oh, there you go. Click on this, add it to, and I can pick any project that I have admin access to and push it into, which I should have admin access to all of our Imagine projects because I'm an account admin, but we can push it to any project. The other thing, if you're not already familiar with the form templates in this library option on the account admin side, is if we edit a template. So say I do add this one to a couple of my others here, like let me just add it to all of my projects. Now back in the library, if I need to update this form, should be able to click it, edit it, add additional. So if I want to create a new section, yeah, before I did this as a yes, no, you could just have it set by default as a yes, no, and make that conditional logic. There we go. Now this looks like in this type of conditional, it's interesting. I hadn't checked this before and adding it this way, but I'm not able to pick an issue type, which is interesting. I wonder if maybe if it was part of, if it was in a template, maybe you would be able to. I suppose every project might have different issue types. So as a global standard, you might have to, once it's pushed into your project, you might have to go into to edit the form, which if it's from a library, I don't know if you'd be able to. Didn't even think of that. But by saving it and updating it from the library, that pushes that update to all of the projects that you included that for. So again, could be really powerful if you have standard forms and you're making changes to them. You can see that this one I just created live during this webinar has been added to 5 projects that I picked. I can jump into one of these projects and we should be able to see that form. In this project. So let's see, does it? See, it didn't require that issue type like it did before. Let's go into, now I'm kind of curious, so got enough time here. This will indicate that this is part of your library, which usually means in the past, if we went to edit it, same view template, yeah, we cannot edit it in the project because it is being dictated by the account admin library. So I'm not able to do that type requirement. And I don't believe. So maybe another good feature that could be updated here is once it's in the project, once it's imported in, that we could just remove it from the library, basically like detach it from the library. I think you are able to just import. We can't import it from the library, but we could import it from wherever it originated, which was my LTU assets project. Anyway, I digress. Just finding out new stuff as we go here about these. So that was about it for the few items I thought were pretty cool, pretty important. Oh, I didn't point out that under issues, I don't know if this is one I highlighted. So historically with issues, we've had the general statuses of open, pending, in review, and closed. Now with issue types, we do have other statuses. In the default. They're turned off or they're inactive. And maybe this is because this project was created prior to the updates, so it already had active, our typical active statuses. But some additional ones, if it's in review, that was an old one. So let's say if it's in progress, we can make that an active status and then go back to issues and we can change the status. If you're like me, you might be wondering, well, so we could choose in progress. If you're familiar with the assets tool in Build, in assets, we can create, so there's these default ones, for an asset status, but we can create brand new status sets. And make our own. I asked the question, why aren't issues, why can't we just create a custom status in issues just like we can in assets? So maybe we don't like the stock ones that Autodesk provides. The answer was that the progress tracking on assets is kind of isolated to its own little module, but issues kind of have more impact on some of the construction IQ and the intelligent reporting that's built into the ACC. So they couldn't just make it an endless amount of statuses. They had to basically have a predefined list or limit a list, and what they found through their internal study is that what they've included in issues is pretty much accomplishing what most customers would ask for. So you cannot create custom statuses in issues, you can in statuses, but with that expanded list, hopefully there are enough here. So they added four new ones: in progress, completed, not approved, in dispute. And then you can assign issue types. Status active. So I guess all of them, whatever are the active statuses, will show. I don't know why you would turn certain ones off during certain courses of the project, but you are able to basically toggle these on and off if required. So let me jump back. Sarah, do you see? I don't see the Q&A, so I don't know if there are no questions.
Yeah, I'm taking a look now. There is one question, and it says, is the multi-page PDF feature available for all of ACC docs, or is it just in Build?
Yeah, good question. It is available. It's an update to the files, not just Build. So yeah, any multi-page PDF that is located, it doesn't matter if I'm in Docs or Build, you'll have that multi-page scrolling, even in old projects. So I'm in a different project now, I think. Let's see, do I have any PDFs in here? Nope. Go to Food Mart project. So just under Docs, files, let's see, bid documents, do we have anything? I'm going to keep clicking on folders that don't have multi-page PDFs. I think this one is, yep, 1 of 5. So I'm in Docs. Here's the multi-page option. If we did, I mentioned earlier, if you had a markup, and edit that markup and include some type of link, hyperlink to a sheet. Now it simply shows you, so this is really the heads up that we didn't have before. There's a little kind of tooltip button that you can click on, and that shows you all of the links to that markup. So if you're using a cloud tool, or if you're using the annotation shapes and you want to hyperlink a shape to a different sheet or multiple sheets, it gives you a list and you can click directly on those and it will take you to those specific sheets. So that's an update. So you can manually do the hyperlinking like you always could to a markup, but now it gives you that list to click through the different documents. In the automatic hyperlinking, like the section tag, it doesn't appear like that has the same. Oh, it does. So click on that and it gives me the option to click the sheet to get to S.4. Let me see. The other part I had set up in my assets. I figured if we had some additional time at the end, I could show this too. So under files, I talked about the little indicators to show public, published, or shared. I believe I took the spec document. That's weird. Okay, I bridged it into another project. I don't know, maybe that bridge wasn't established, or maybe it has to be accepted on the other project before it shows up here that it's bridged. But this little indicators is a new column that we have in files, and that will show us if the file's been publicly shared, if it has been bridged or synchronized to another project, or if it has been published to sheets. So, I was going to publish a document set here, but this is 89 megabytes and it was going to take a while to process in my sheets. But if it was processed, if it was published to sheets, we would have a little published indicator there as well under. Yeah, so I did, and it has been accepted. I'm not sure why that the bridge arrow is just this same icon here. When a file is bridged, it shows with that little icon. And I think published is like a box with the up arrow, just like if we were to go into. Yeah, that little symbol there. Let's see, anything else? We've got like 10 or 15 minutes. Let's just take a look back at the list here. Files and project templates, that's straightforward. Duplicate file name scanning. I don't think I have a great example set up in this project that I'm in to show you this, but under project files. Oh, the saved searches, if we saved a search, we can share the search. So if I say for drawings, you can save that search, search by drawings, and under my saved searches, right now it's private because it's just me. But if I click on this search, I believe, yeah, there we go. We can share it out to everyone in the project, and then it will show up under the shared option. So all anyone would have to do when they go to search, instead of having to fill out their own search criteria plus filters, they can just go to save searches, click that icon, and it's going to search for everything. Let's see, what was I going to show? Oh, the duplicates. I know that this was under, I just saw it earlier. I don't know why it's not popping up, but I have to click on a file. No. I thought it was somewhere up here. Maybe it's under, nope, not file log. I'll have to find it again. Somewhere in the settings, so there's a simple button to say search for duplicates. Maybe it's just at the root folders area. I don't know why I'm missing that. Attribute settings, PDF viewer. Anyway, I thought it popped up right here. Yeah, should be under. So sorry about that. There definitely is a way to search for duplicates within the entire folder structure. And I thought it was somewhere in there. Maybe it's not a filter. There's no custom attributes, so. And I know I saw it in this project. Let me see. Maybe it has to have duplicate file names. I know that Alan's is probably a bunch. Anyway, it's in there somewhere. I can probably pull up the help and find it really quick, but I swear I just saw it earlier, so I'm not sure what I'm missing here live. But cool, that was basically all I wanted to cover. I think I went through the primary ones. Oh, I'll add one last thing that I don't know when it exactly was updated. It might have been prior to this last release, but I do like to point out that we are able to now create new roles from the unified platform without having to jump back into our BIM 360 admin and create those roles. So they finally incorporated the role creation in the unified platform, which might not seem like a big deal, but I feel like that's pretty good. So if you needed to add any roles, you can do that from the account level rather than having to go back to your BIM 360 admin, do it there. Unfortunately, I don't know why exactly, but you can't add companies here, but you are able to, if you guys didn't already know this, if you're adding new companies to your hub, you could still go back to your BIM 360 admin and add companies, or in an actual project. Might be a little bit easier for a project admin. So I'm in project admin for this project. If I go to companies, we are able to add a company plus all of the data to that company that we want. If you're really concerned about adding a company logo, then you should do that back in BIM 360. If you want specific projects to show with logos, there's some in the unified platform, you'll notice that all of your projects just have this general your general logo. And if you go into the settings for the project, even when you edit the project settings, there is nowhere to place that image. I guess in the follow-up email, I can send this document or this link to everyone that directs you. It's something with the HTML. You have to copy and paste like I think the logo JPEG into the HTML in order to associate it to the project. So there's a general kind of workaround to get that to populate. I know that's a big request from some customers that work with very specific clients or owners, and they want their project to show up with that owner's logo, so they know right away looking at their list. Why they removed that from the unified platform, I am not sure. Cool. Any other questions, Sarah?
Nothing else came in.
Okay. Well, thank you all for your time. Hopefully you learned some new stuff and you could play around with some of those new features that I showed. If you have any questions, reach out to probably the best place is info@rand.com and we'll follow up with you. You guys probably all saw my email addresses during the presentation. So the only thing I'll warn, if you email me directly, there's no promise that I'll get back to you as fast as someone else would on our team if you email info@rand.com. So yeah, if you have any questions about anything, reach out to us and we'll be more than happy to follow up. Actually, I have Lori's in here from an old presentation, but you can reach out to Lori too. She'll probably get back to you.